Welcome everyone. Hope you're well. Waiting for Ed to figure out how to join as a panelist so he can share with me in this extravaganza today. It'd be really great if you could just click on the raise your hand button to let me know that you can hear me okay. Hi, I'm on screen now too. Hello. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, put in the chat box if, yeah, thanks Sonia, it's so difficult, and Arthur, lovely to see you guys. It's so difficult when you're talking to a blank screen to know if anyone can actually hear you or anything. Oh, and Dan Bradbury's managed to escape the children, fabulous. Just gonna wait a couple of minutes, hopefully Ed will come on as a panelist so he can chat with me, because otherwise it's quite a lonely business. And then we'll get going, just waiting for people to join. We're getting up to a good number now. We're going to talk today about business automation and how you can really, in this time of need, get it to, hey Alex, we can get you as efficient as possible, both with your time and your money and your staffing. There's never been a time more when business automation is coming into its own. I'm going to whiz through a super fast brief history of me, just for people that don't know me. I've been an entrepreneur for, it's over 30 years now. I've only ever had one job, which was at the Sun newspaper. And I had my first business, which was London's only roller rink, in the early 90s. I ran an animation art gallery, but the main part of my career was making video games or placing third-party advertisers, such as the ones on your screen, in promotional software, or making computer games for Xbox and PlayStation. So I did that for the main part of my career, whilst I also had kids, and I lived in France, and then I came back from France, and for the last 8 years I've been working with all sorts of businesses in streamlining their automation, making them more efficient. Every business of every sector you could possibly imagine, I've worked in some way, form or manner in order to help them make the most of their systems and make their business as streamlined as possible. That's all the boring bit over, just so that people understand a little bit about me. Hi Mike, good to see you. Initially, there's like, what is automation? Automation is about making your business as automated as possible, getting as much of the boring stuff done and out of the way, so that you can get other stuff done faster. That would be also so that your staff can get on with doing more important stuff. Hey, Ed.
Hello, I found your link.
You found the link?
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. We've got a geek in you somewhere. We will find you in there. So we're just talking about what I was just talking at the screen about, what automation is, about getting the boring stuff done faster, where you can then get on with the more profitable stuff. I mean, you hear people talk about £10 task versus £1,000 task. If you can get the automation doing it and getting all your systems joined up so that everything is really streamlined and all your processes are as simplified as possible, that's where business automation comes into its own. And there's never been a time more that we've needed to have our systems all working in tandem with each other, or holding hands and playing nicely. You can use business automation in every area of your business and put your business very much on autopilot in the areas that you need. So the things like cash flow, of getting your money in sooner, of making sure that everything is joined up and doing more with less. This is the conversation you and I had earlier, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Furloughing employees, so that, you know, if we can get automation doing what they do, so that they can get on with the more important task and redistribute their time and their productivity for better growth of the business.
It's also very important with so much stuff happening at the moment, isn't there? There's so many things competing for our attention, so therefore it's an opportunity for things to fall through the cracks. I think that's sort of a comment we touched on earlier. So obviously, you know, every client is very important at the moment, isn't it? Like every client is worth, you know, £10,000, £15,000, whatever it may be in your business. And if you're not making regular contact and you're allowed to fall through the cracks, and that's a massive part of your revenue stream currently that you've just allowed to fall off, isn't it?
Absolutely. So the more that we can have happen in our business automatically allows us to focus on that. Falling through the cracks is actually a really important bit. We're going to come on to that in a little bit. So the reasons here that we need automation, as Dan mentioned earlier, automation works 24 days a week, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and can help you increase and improve your service, deliverability, cash flow, and productivity. And we're going to go through some of those bits today of where you can get some quick wins, even with what you're already doing or the software that you already have. So really putting your business on autopilot is what we want to all be doing. And a lot of people always ask me, I don't know where to start. You've got this big machine that is your business, and people simply don't know where it is that they need to begin the process to try and untangle it all. So I can always come back with two really simple questions. What can you do to save the most time, and what can you do to get the most money? If you can have a look at your business and try and untangle, what often happens is you start thinking in every direction at once, and you've got too many tabs open, you just kind of go into overload. So I always look at time, because for me, time is always the most valuable asset that we've got. So I did a little bit of maths, Dan Bradbury style, and did a little bit of calculation at what is it that you're doing repetitively, or that your staff are doing repetitively each day, that may only take you 5 minutes. Because the beauty of automation is the power of the cumulative effect of when you claw back these 5-minute increments. Because 12 times 5 minutes is actually an hour. So is there 12 lots of 5 minutes in a day that you could save time in your business? So if you save an hour a day, you've now saved 5 hours a week, which is 20 hours a month, which is 240 hours a year. Now that is 10 lots of 24 hours, but we're actually only awake or working technically for maybe 8 of those hours. So if you can save yourself 12 times 5 minutes a day, you can save yourself 30 full 8-hour working days. I love that calculation. I love that calculation.
It adds up, isn't it? So I mean, if you guys want to jump in on the chat and perhaps suggest tasks that you guys have currently got that you think take 5 minutes and you could do without, and we can sort of maybe wrap up to the back of that at the end of this and answer how we would go about that.
Absolutely. Any questions you've got about stuff you're already doing and how you would like to know how I would suggest you automate. There's always more than one way to skin a cat. There's always different ways to do it and different software, but it does apply to any business. Money, which is almost for me as valuable as time, because time is money in a sense, is where are you leaving money on the table? Where is it that you could be getting maybe money in faster with your cash flow? Are you sending out automated invoicing? Are you chasing up invoices in an automated way? Are you giving people a payment link on their invoices? Are you taking money up front? And are you using things like Go Cardless and Stripe so people can pay you really easily? Where else is there money? Leaky sales funnels. I mean, the amount of people I've seen who are sending out emails with proposals, and then it just sits in their sent items, and then those leads go cold and you don't follow up with them. Leaky sales funnels are a massive place where you're leaving money on the table, where you can automate your business, and you don't necessarily need anything more than the software you're already using for this. This is not, you don't have to spend loads and loads of money on it. As I just said,
it's also not, it doesn't have to be totally automated, does it? You can automate it to nudge salespeople, for instance, so you don't lose that personal touch. But yeah, I mean, most sales fall because people or salespeople aren't proactive in chasing the lead. People are busy, so therefore it's good to remind them.
No, an automated business is where things are happening automatically. So you don't necessarily need software for it. A lot of it is the systems and processes within your business, as far as where should things happen automatically, where are the roadblocks, where are the black holes, and we'll be looking a little bit more at that as to where we can fill those black holes and easy ways to do it. often people are not following up at all, and they actually just don't know where to start with their business. So, Ed, are you using any automation yourself in your daily life in Bradbury.com?
Yeah, we do. Obviously, we use Infusionsoft, so we've got lots of things there. My personal life, I've got all my emails get followed up. They automatically have a 3-day chase, things like this. So yeah, for me, I find it's more important for me to follow up with people than in most lines of business. And I do also find that even myself have tendencies to sort of say, oh, I'm bothering them or whatever. And eventually you get hold of them and they say, oh no, I've just been super swamped, really sorry, great, let's continue the conversation, brilliant. So I think it's also important to, from a sales perspective, to just remind yourself that actually you're there to help these people. And sometimes they get busy and swamped, and the only way you can get back in touch is by coming up on their radar.
Absolutely. And as Arthur said in the chat, it's about being consistent in follow-up. Yes, 100%. I don't know what it's gone for now. It used to be 5 touch points and 8 touch points. I don't know if we're up to 11 or 14 touch points that people need with the consistent follow-up. You're 100% right with that, Arthur. And as Alex says, raising invoices, sending quotes, and calling customers to inform them. And one of the things that can happen is that you don't know who you're meant to be calling, or whoever is meant to be making the call isn't on top of it, and whoever's managing them doesn't know who they're meant to be calling, and the systems aren't in place to know who to call, what to call them about, or when to call them.
Yeah, and I think especially at times like this, when you've got a reduced workforce, for instance, it may be you who needs to do the follow-up, but you're doing the cash flow, you're doing all sorts of things, you're doing leadership meetings, etc., and all of a sudden you've got to follow up with the clients as well, and just be able to automate that so it pops up in your diary, say, right, you need to do X, Y, and Z today. It's a lot of money you could be getting in additional revenue that could just disappear otherwise.
Absolutely. So where do we start? The way that we start, and I haven't actually mentioned, I know Stephen's on here today. Stephen, who is my right-hand man and keeps me more sane than most, is particularly good at this, is understanding your business flow, is knowing where those black holes are, which you can call mapping out, blueprinting. There's all sorts of different ways in which you can go about working out in your business what the flow is. It might be the customer journey, it might be your workflow, all the different journeys that customers and staff are going to have in the business. You might want to do it on a big A3 pad. You might want to do it on a big whiteboard. That is actually the whiteboard in my office, which I absolutely love. Massive whiteboard. You can never have a whiteboard big enough, as far as I'm concerned. You can do it with post-it notes, understanding the actual flow of where a process starts, or where a customer journey starts, and understanding where the gaps are, or where the weak points are, or as you said, Ed, where things can fall through the cracks. There's obviously different softwares you can use for it as well. Some are free, like Google Drawings. Funalytics, I know, has a free trial on it. Funnel Flow is good, and Lucidchart. It really doesn't matter what system you're using, as long as you're using something to map out the flow, and you can understand the routes that people or information needs to pass down in order to get to the right destination and things don't fall through the cracks. So I would say the very, very first place to start is absolutely in blueprinting or working out the flow. And there's going to be more than one, and they're going to interact, and they're going to connect with different softwares. But understanding that blueprint from your most important processes at the center, radiating outwards in importance as to knowing where you're hitting dead ends and black holes.
We also had a great conversation about this earlier, doing in terms of, being able to map out your business. It also allows you to look at the risks within your business. And I think at a time like this, obviously risk is massive. So it allows you to sort of allocate the correct resources to that. And also in terms of cash flow, you can sort of sit and say, right, well, what are the critical components that we've got to keep paying, that we've got to keep running at any cost? So it gives you sort of a little bit more headspace as well, doesn't it?
No, 100%. You can see here, this is one Steve and I have done recently for a client with their customer journey in their digital marketing. or their marketing automation. And what we found is that there were black holes, and it was only by doing this exercise where we were looking at the flow of what if they do, what if they don't. And this is a really, really important thing with automation, is that you're always pushing people down a funnel or down a pipeline. We've got all these terminologies that people use which mean the same thing. We're pushing people down a pipe and wanting them to do something, whether it's a member of staff or whether it's a client. We want them to pay, we want them to do this task, and it's about finding the break. So you can see here where we've got, you know, the red and the green, which is what if they do and what if they don't. Each juncture is understanding where there's a black hole. So we know that when someone fills in a web form, and I've seen this a million times over, the web form contact is captured and just sent an email, and nothing more happens to it. So as you can see here, we have a black hole scenario where they're not going into any nurtures, it's not joined up with anything. So
that's a customer just lost.
That's a customer loss, that's a prospect loss that's not being served, that's not getting any information, it's not getting any follow-up. It's exactly that. And like
in terms of, if you sort of talk about it as a client, you pay for the lead, they're qualified, etc., and there's a cost to that, isn't there? It's not just the sale that you've lost, it's the amount you paid as well in order to get that person on the website.
100%. The cost of acquisition, we're constantly chasing new clients and trying to get as low as possible cost of acquisition, and we're not even looking after the ones that we are popular, or the beautiful website that we put up. We're not even looking after the contacts that are coming in from there. So by funnel mapping or blueprinting or doing your flow chart, whatever terminology you want to use for it, of understanding your business and where the black holes are or where the weak cracks are, of knowing, and that's where you begin to fill the holes, literally, and understand what you want your customer or your workflow journey to be. This happens to be one of marketing, but likewise, it's going to be, you know, the systems and processes for your credit control, the systems and processes for your sales team to follow up manually with someone. Everything that you do in your business will have some kind of process which will require, even if it's just 2 or 3 stages of a flow, to understand where things should be happening automatically. And this is the best way to plan for it, whether you draw it, whether you're using software, whether you're using post-it notes, just make sure that you're doing something. And what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of the software that you've already got, some of which is free, has automation capabilities. So if we were to look at, I think most people these days are on probably Xero or on QuickBooks or on Sage. How many people have automated, I'm sorry, I was just reading the messages in there. Sorry, George, you're asking, that particular one that I just showed you was done using funnel flows, but you can do it with anything. I have recurring invoicing for people. So I have an invoice in Xero that I just set a date on it and it sends it out automatically. Likewise, setting up Go Cardless, getting that cash in as soon as possible. If you're using any of these softwares, you already have automation capabilities. And I'm going to show you a few quick wins. In finance, definitely, as I said, the automated invoicing, whether it's recurring and or sending reminders out automatically so that you're not having to chase people so often to get the money in. And if you're not using the accounting software, you shouldn't be on this call, because the amount of people I've seen doing templates in spreadsheets and Word documents is really, really scary, where something like Xero is literally £20 a month.
I think there's also a significant increase, isn't it, as to the time it takes to get paid. If people see a payment link at the end of an invoice, they often click it, credit card details, bang, it's done. It's, you know, it's off their mind, isn't it?
No, absolutely. And we often forget that our time is money. I mean, oh, I'll chase people up manually. I don't want to spend that money every month. And it's a bit like having a dog walk. And I love my dog walks every morning, but the days that I'm busy, if I'm paying my dog walker £15 an hour, and in that hour I can earn £50, basic economics and maths will tell you that it's going to be more cost effective for me to pay the dog walker to walk the dog, so I can go and earn the extra 35 quid. So it's sometimes we have a false economy where we think by doing it ourselves we're going to be able to save money, whereas in fact we could be getting on with much more important tasks. Another really cool thing that you can do when you're with Xero or QuickBooks and any software, especially that hooks up with Zapier, is you can request a review. So in Zapier, if you can say when someone pays an invoice, trigger an email. Now you can do it. You can do it with your workflow if you're with Microsoft Outlook or Microsoft 365, you can do that for free with Microsoft Flows. Everything can hook up with itself and with each other. You don't need any fancy software to request a review. And I'm going to be coming on to that a little bit later as well. So they're real quick wins that you can get. So, oh, here, look, I've even done it here. So from an email, from even a Google Mail, if you move someone into a category or a tag, you can trigger off the back of that if you move it into a folder. Like if you've got any pipeline software like ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft, Pipedrive, you can also automate off the back of somebody going into a closed deal. Send them a payment link and an invoice automatically from them going into the closed deal stage, even if that stage is just literally filing the email into a category or a folder and using the rules within your email client software to trigger an email off the back of it. So you can send an email, you can add it to your mailing list, your CRM, you can, as who mentioned about the calendars earlier in the chat? Julie, so you can create an appointment in your calendar to remind you to follow up with that person a week, 2 weeks, a month from now. This is really important as well. You can do this when you're sending out quotes and stuff in your emails. If you go to your sent items and then you move it to a folder, moving it to that folder can trigger an action, as well as then knowing that that is the folder of people that you need to go back to when you have your recurring Wednesday task at 11 a.m. for your follow-ups, is everybody is in that folder that you need to follow up with. And you're not wasting time going through your sent items trying to find who you should be following up with and what you should be following up about. So this is
a great easy win, isn't it?
Oh, it's an easy win. And this is what I mean about doing things automatically. It doesn't always require software. It just sometimes requires you to have the system and the process in place. So there's all sorts of things. Zapier is a super, super powerful tool. And you can create appointments and reminders and add people to Facebook groups or send them requests to come and join you on social media, all sorts of stuff. Whereas in your workflow, your touch points and making sure that you're keeping your tribe close to you.
I think also it's important in terms of the customer journey, isn't it? Because again, bring it back to times like this, but you want to keep your customers happy. If they've got queries, etc., you want to deal with them in a quick, timely manner. And also it's a great way that, if you've got a customer that's got a problem, you've solved their problem, they're really grateful, they're really happy, being able to trigger an email to get a review, whilst they're in that sort of euphoric feeling, is definitely going to give you a great review and help your presence on Google, etc., won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. The more touch points you can have, the more relevant you can be, the more value you can offer, the more on top of it. What I find is we are all service providers in this group, one way or another. And if we're showing our customers that we care about them, that we're on top of what they need, what service they require from us, what information they require from us, they're going to want to refer us more. They're going to want to deal with us more because we become credible, we become reliable. They know that they can count on us. So the more ways we can do this automatically so that we can then release our time to serve them better, has got to be a win-win for everybody.
I think that's the key message, isn't it? So it's about redistributing your time onto how to serve your clients better, is it? As opposed to administration tasks, it's being there when they need you.
Absolutely, and this is why automation isn't just about sales and marketing, where it probably is used the most, because that's where we need the most touch points. But having automated workflows to release you up to serve your customers better is, because then you're not too busy when they actually need you for something, because you've got as much as you can automate. You can't automate everything. It has its place. And I often put in my emails, you know, this is an automated email. My customers understand that, you know, no one expects a personalized response when they sign into a webinar. Everyone expects an automated response.
Yes.
Often we don't even have that on our websites anymore. This is a really cool tool for Gmail and Outlook users. If you're an Outlook user and you may not know about this, under your Insert tab, you have something called Quick Parts, and those Quick Parts, you can have pre-filled templates of information. Now, I know of a lot of people that go into their sent items, they find a message that was similar to the one that they sent last time, they adapt it a little, and then they send it out. And that whole process, that might only take them 6 or 7 minutes. And this is an example of what I was saying about saving 12 times 5 minutes a day. I saved an accountant who was doing this, I think, a full day when he was doing his tax returns for his clients by this very simple process. So you literally, you just go to the body of a message, you go insert and quick parts. If you've got an existing message at this point, you can save it, and then it will be in the quick part library, and then it will just pre-fill the email ready for you to be able to adapt it for that client and to send. So even if you're only saving yourself 2 or 3 minutes at that point to go insert quick parts click, that is 2.5 clicks to get there and to send it. You can also, if you have the same subject line, you could also set up a rule that anything with that subject line in your sent items will automatically save to a sent folder. So here we're doing something automatically with a software that we're already using. And likewise, Gmail has a very similar one, which they call templates. You will need to go into your settings in your Gmail to switch on templates for this to happen. Otherwise, this option won't appear in the menu. But again, you know, having those templates ready and set up, it might be follow up from a sales call. It might be a thank you message. It might be, I've just tried to call and I've left you a voicemail. So all of these things are really easy, quick wins, just manipulating existing software that you're already using.
I think also we touched on it earlier when we were speaking, like the way that we work seems to be quite similar in the fact that it's good to have something, we put everything down, then we start deleting and cutting back. Yeah, I personally find it easy to start with a template and then sort of take off the bits that I don't need. And I tend to find I get better emails as a result.
Yes, and there's less typos, there's more consistency, and you can, you know, it's the amount of headspace do you spend in making the architecture of an email just so it's the right tone, as opposed to just doing it once and knowing that it's done and just personalizing it and tweaking it.
Yeah, it allows you to focus on the content as opposed to the structure. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. So workflow automation is super powerful. You can, you know, I saved here, your Progressive Property, we saved them a half a day a week for the whole of their accounts department. The amount of actual saving in that when you start looking at it, they've got a huge number of transactions. Alexandra's as an accountant had a huge number of emails they needed to get out, which is where we use the templating for him and his staff to use. And subcontractor support, they had 500 new contacts coming in a week, and onboarding those people was a massive time saving to have consistent information, and getting the customers also to serve the information up, which you can do with Google Forms. You don't need to have Infusionsoft or Active Campaign. Jot Forms is very powerful. Google Forms is very powerful. And they are free tools that you can get people giving you the information and saving you time, and not having to keep going back and chasing up more information that you need from clients if you're onboarding them as well. Another thing that's really visible right now is with the people working from home and trying to have accountability for your staff or your subcontractors that are working is having this visibility on what they're doing. And there's some really cool tasking softwares out there. Now, as Julie said, putting tasks in a calendar is really, really good as well, so that down the line, you know, when you get to your day, you've got time blocked out for that task. Google Calendar, when you log into it on the web, as opposed to if you've got it linked up elsewhere, has a really good tasking tool. It's also really good if you've got collaboration documents with Google Sheets and Google Docs, where you can task other people to do stuff on those documents. So Google Task is a really, really useful tool. We found that Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Project, also free for 365 users, was really good at tracking who should do what and when. I don't know if there's many people on here familiar with Scrum and Agile working and having the different boards of what's in backlog and what you're doing.
Kanban boards and
yeah, exactly. For Kanban boards, really, really useful. And these tools here at the top, they're all free. You don't have to pay any money for those. And using things like Microsoft Flow in the background, again, is free. So you can get going with business automation and making your business automatic really, really easily.
So just quickly on the chat, how many of you guys use any of this software, and kind of what's your favorite take on it? What's your pros, what's your cons, which we talk about more?
I can see that Arthur's using MeisterTask as a Kanban project management software, and that's free. Thank you for that, Arthur. And she loves it. We've started using Asana in-house.
Yeah.
I think has a free version as well. I found Monday a little bit clunky personally, but the thing is also with staff working from using Active Campaign, Jonah. So the having a visibility on what staff are doing or what you're requesting them to do, there's a very, very big difference between abdication and delegation. You know, asking someone to do something, they're just expecting it to be done, versus knowing where they're at with that task and if they've got any issues with it.
I think it's also, you need to understand what it is that you want the software to do before you start choosing one. I know that some of our clients here use Rike, which is great for project management, but it's quite clunky for just general team administration. I see Rob saying that he's used Trello, which is a personal favorite actually, because it's a very simple thing to use.
Trello is good, and this is where the blueprinting comes in. I definitely say at the beginning of your journey is to use something free like Microsoft Teams or Microsoft Projects to get going with it, and then see what you need, see how your team's working, get them involved in the process. The more you can get your team using it and coming forward with ideas, the more they're going to embrace it, rather than you laying down the law and going, this is what we're doing. The more you can involve them in the process, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Have you got any particular advice around that? I know obviously when you introduce a new way of working, sometimes you get people quite resistant to it. How do you show them? I mean, obviously with all these things, you know, if you put garbage in, you get garbage out. So how do you get the team on board? What's the best way?
Well, what I would normally do to get a team on board would be to invite them as to what they see the problems are in the business. I always invite them to contribute first, and I will always go last in suggesting where I think the problems are, hoping that they've already been covered off before I have to open my mouth. And then once you get their buy-in, that they understand that it's a problem, that customers aren't being served or information isn't getting to its destination in a timely way, then it's like, okay, well, what do we need to solve this? And once they see a need for it, that's when you can onboard them with it. Sorry, I was just reading Julie's message, I got completely distracted. Once you get their buy-in and they acknowledge there's a problem and that they can see the benefit of how the solution is going to help them, like with all marketing, it's the same way getting your staff on board. You identify the problem and you market the solution. So if the solution is going to help them with their job, get results, get their commission, get their job done, that is going to serve them, and you're going to get their buy-in as a result. If you then involve them in the process without it being a democracy, you know, making sure that everyone feels heard and validated in their contribution, then that's how I would normally get people on board.
Good, I like that. I think I think it's important, isn't it? It's like people don't use tools they don't see the benefit in. So if it's just there to monitor them, then you've got to give them another reason to use it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the most important thing is that they see you using it, and it isn't just a one rule for them and a one rule for you, and that you are holding them accountable to it, that you don't just let it put something in place and then not make sure that it's implemented and used properly. There might be training, there might be resistance. So there's another couple of really useful tools whilst you have a lot of staff working from home or working remotely. First off, security-wise, is I highly recommend, more than you can possibly imagine, something like LastPass or Dashlane. They're password repository tools. They save a hell of a lot of time. If you've got a family like mine, where my mother expects me to store every single password she has, what's my iCloud password? Why aren't my emails working? Can you come and set up my phone for me? LastPass has been amazing. It syncs across all my devices. You can have Teams on there. You can share. I have a lot of clients that share their passwords with me, but their password isn't visible. But LastPass, with its Chrome and its web browser extensions, will allow me to log into a site without ever seeing it if someone, seeing the password, if someone shared it with me. Security-wise, I can't recommend it highly enough, especially when members of staff leave, and then you feel that all your systems are compromised. Also for storing data, like bank details or PIN numbers, something like LastPass is super, super useful.
That's fantastic, actually, the point you just made about, you know, if employees leave, if you've got one password you have to change and that changes everything else, then that makes your data far more secure, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. The other one that I use a lot is Toggle. Toggle, it has a free version as well. It syncs on my phone, on my computers, and it's just tap in, tap out of what tasks you're doing at any given time. It's really, really useful actually to measure your own productivity. When you think that something's going to take you an hour and you look up and it's 3 o'clock and you go, oh, it took me longer than an hour, and you lose time and you don't realize where. If you start using Toggle and getting your staff to use Toggle or your subcontractors to time how long it takes them to do stuff, it'll also help you with better quoting down the line, and also better reporting back to clients when they're asking possibly to be accountable for the amount of time that, or what tasks you've achieved for them in any given period of time.
And also how to organise a team, isn't it? Any sort of project work, you know, you need to be able to know how long it's going to take. If you're not measuring it, then you've got no idea how to estimate that in the future.
Absolutely. Other places that I've found using automation really useful is booking meetings. All that backwards and forwards. Are you free then? Or no, I'm not free then. You're free 2 o'clock? No, I'm free 11 o'clock. You can waste hours of your life just having backwards and forwards on emails. I use Schedule Once. There's Appointment Call, there's Calendly. I'm sure there's others. Again, more than one way to skin a cat. Using a scheduling software which links directly with your calendar. It doesn't show people what you're doing when you're busy. It shows them what free time you have. And they're very sophisticated, where they can look at your availability across different calendars and send out reminders, automatic Zoom meeting links. Having those kinds of tools saves an enormous amount of time, and people get instant gratification of being able to find the time immediately with you that they can have the conversation that they need.
Makes it easy, doesn't it? I think that's the thing. People tend to not do stuff if they deem it's too difficult, i.e. not book a call, not have the discussion. Yeah, it makes things easy.
Now, a really clever tip that a sales guy showed me a while back was go and register a domain like bookacallwithlisa.com, and then have your scheduling software have your domain redirect to your scheduling software booking page. And then people, you've just got this really simple link that you can use for people or for companies. And it makes people think, the emotional reaction people have to that is like, oh, that's so clever. And they get a really good emotional reaction to it and think that you really know your stuff and that you're really on top of things. And it gives a really good credibility brownie point for you in that respect. Other places that automation I'd say is essential is anyone that is doing any kind of event. Obviously there's Eventbrite, there's landing pages, making sure that you're capturing the information and following up with people automatically. If you don't have a CRM, all of these tools will save to a Google Sheet, and from a Google Sheet you should be able to trigger an email as well with something as simple as Zapier. So making sure that you're automating leads that are coming in. I will shoot at dawn anyone on this group that is not already doing events and speaking, that isn't doing some kind of automated follow-up. Makes no sense whatsoever. Sales funnels. We're going into marketing now. We spend a lot of time driving traffic to our websites and not doing an automated response. We get a response in our inbox, but it's not being captured anywhere. So I'd really say that even if you're just saving to a Google sheet, that capturing that data is absolutely essential. In this particular web form, we've got different nurtures happening depending on what someone's selection is. So they're driving traffic from Facebook and AdWords to their web page, and then we're capturing data and we're doing different funnels so that the information is specific, it's really relevant to the people. And this is where we fall down a lot with automated communications, is that we don't use enough relevancy in the emails, which not only affects our reputation and getting into the inbox, but also makes people feel like the canned responses, that you're not really valuing them as a client. So taking the time to make stuff relevant to people, I would say, is key in your sales automation. Knowing also what to follow up with people and what about is another thing. Ed, are you using any kind of dashboard for your sales?
I do, yeah. It's not automated. I use Trello personally.
You use Trello, but you know exactly who to follow up with, about what, yes, and when, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So different stage of the pipeline. Pipelines don't have to have stages. There's also different, don't have to have millions of stages. You could literally have new client working and then closed or no, a closed deal, i.e. one or lots. Then it could be as small as 3 stages. Now there are different types of funnels. So this one here that you're looking at on the screen is a manual sales funnel where they have to pick up the phone to telephone people. So knowing who to call about what and where they came from, like capturing lead sources, is super important. Likewise, automated sales funnels. So this is one for a subscription model where we have everything completely automated, from Stripe going into Zapier, going into, all they have to do is move people in and out of the Facebook group that they have subscribed to, because we can't automate that. But everything else around it, from the payments, the subscription to the delivery of the nurture, it's completely automated. And if you've even, these guys, they've got about 2,000 people just at $20 a month. That's quite a significant automated pipeline. So knowing who is in your pipeline and automating that is super, super important, even if you're saving it to different Google Sheets because you're not using any pipeline software.
No, I love that. Yeah, it is critical to see where people are at, what the next steps need to be. And it's nice to have it visual. It makes a big, big difference.
It is visual. We did that one already. We'll move on. The other point is lead capture, is the amount of people that are not capturing leads properly, and they're just literally filling in a web form. You're spending a lot of time driving traffic or asking people to give you referrals, and people are ending up on dead-end forms, and also when they do fill in the form, they're often not getting an automated response. You don't need to have a CRM, but it does help, and there's enough kind of free options out there at the moment that even with a MailChimp auto trigger on the free version, you'll be able to serve people on that. Lead capture is the primary stage of your sales and marketing funnel. If you're not capturing the lead information, whether it be a phone number or an email address, then someone has literally just fallen into a black hole. The what have we got here? Yeah.
Just saying really quickly, can we get back to Alistair? What software was that? The automated funnel? I don't actually recognise that one.
This one here, that is ActiveCampaign. This is ActiveCampaign, which is a really nice visible one. Keep also have just built their new interface last year, which mimics this similarly as well. So Keep, which is the new I'm going to say new version of Infusionsoft, but it's not. It's a side product of Infusionsoft. As an Infusionsoft purist, it's really difficult for me to refer to it as Keep. But yes, it's a really nice visual one. What you can do here as well is you can literally drag and drop people into different stages of the funnel, and you can automate off the back of it.
Yeah, and then that initiates the action, I assume.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So if these people are waiting to be added to the Facebook group, then when you move them into here and they've been added, that can trigger the email going, you've just been added to the Facebook group, here's all the information that you need to know about it. So moving people from stage to stage can trigger them. Is that right, Alistair? Does that make you clear on that? So this was a referral sales funnel. So this was for an osteopath who was collecting business cards where he was being referred business. He's a BNI member. So what's really good with some systems is they have the automatic character recognition software. So you can take a picture of a business card and just trigger it straight into the software from them. So he has a very simple, do you want to book an appointment? And the reminder sequence going on until they book the appointment. And then when they do, it's the what you need to know about your appointment and where we are and all the rest of it going to his auto scheduler in between. Just a really simple funnel just from getting someone's business card and an automated nurture. So that's might require a phone call in the middle of it, or it might be that it's completely automated.
Have you got any sort of like guide as to, like, you know, how many more appointments, the sort of the speed at which the appointments were booked? Do you got any sort of like guidelines on sort of where the impact that this can have?
The impact is massive. I've just done for a gym in the States where we had to move for virtual sessions because of the coronavirus. And we had a massive take up of, we had about 150 people in 20 minutes take up booking an appointment. If you make the journey really easy and automated for them, so that they can have instant gratification, they can book in straight away, get the information that they need straight away in an automated way, automatically, then you will get more. This is, you make the journey as easy as possible for them, as much as you're making it as easy as possible for yourself.
I think you hit on the point. It's about removing those roadblocks, like instant gratification, boom, done. That's what people like nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, no one likes to have, everyone likes to have a clear to-do list, and if they're not, they're a freak as far as I'm concerned. I mean, a to-do list is one thing, but enjoying having a to-do list outside of having direction for your day, getting things ticked off. There's probably, if you read Simon Sinek's Leaders Eat Last, where he talks about all the different drugs that our bodies manufacture, like oxytocin and serotonin, in the same way as when you get a like on a Facebook post, I think it's oxytocin, and feel free to correct me if it's not. It's the same thing when you tick a task off your task list. You get a little rush of going, yeah, that's a win, which is often why we like to get all the quick stuff done first, because quick wins and we get a nice feeling. Who wants to sit down and
we're junkies?
Is it oxytocin junkies, or is it
Caroline's saying it's dopamine.
Yeah, it's dopamine. Thank you, Caroline. I
corrected
that as well. So the other place, obviously they're automated sales funnels, but you're going to have the manual sales funnels as well, where you've got a sales team, and this comes back to the accountability of the staff, especially whilst they're working via remote. So this one is for live events. They're not doing an awful lot right now, obviously, where they're capturing leads and they have an automatic nurture, and then the sales team are also picking up the phone. Now, they have their dashboard to know who they need to call, and this is a dashboard, Alistair, from Infusionsoft, who they need to call and what stage they are in the pipeline. So the difference in a manual pipeline is you would move people through the stages of who's new, who you need to follow up with, who you've left a voicemail for, as opposed to the automated one. The importance of this for larger sales teams. So this is a very sophisticated pipeline for 25 different agents. It's now actually up to 5,000 different web forms and products across, I think it's six territories. So you can have sophisticated pipelines or simple pipelines, but if you don't have the dashboards for you to monitor your progress or monitor that of your sales team, then the accountability and you're going to lose leads. People are not going to be served in a timely fashion. This one, you set you set a date on when it needs to be reviewed in order that it doesn't go cold in this particular industry, which is live music events. If they don't follow up with the lead within 24 hours, it's probably gone cold and they've gone elsewhere. So being able to stay on top of the sales team and on top of the pipeline, whether in an automated or manual way, is absolutely essential. You find that, Ed?
Very, very true. Yeah, time is critical with sales. Yeah, because also like they forget who you are. So they, you know, for instance, they sign up, get a free book or whatever. If you're not on the phone within, literally 24 hours, they sort of sit there and go, well, who are you? Sorry, what's this about?
So dashboards across your business, you know, the KPIs, the scorecards, the dashboards, they are essential. If you're not using any dashboarding software or CRM software that can give it to you, then you can export stuff to Google Sheets easily, and you can use formulas there to create the dashboard. So you can see how people are performing, you can see how customers are performing, and you can see how well your marketing is performing and needs to be tweaked as a result. So moving through once you've attracted people and you're starting selling to them, is what's going on in the background, where we start with email nurtures and educating people. Now, any email service provider will have some level of automation. Even MailChimp now has a certain amount of tagging involved. And what's really people miss out a lot here is gathering the intelligence and gathering the data on their clients here by seeing what emails they are engaging with and understanding what they are interested in order that you can serve them more of that information and more of that value. So automatic data gathering and segmentation of your database is essential. And as Alison Boyle said earlier in the mastermind group, there's never been a time that you need your email list to work for you more, but you can't go at it with a scattergun approach. And if you don't have the data on your clients, you can't be relevant and you're going to lose them. It's just going to get deleted straight out the inbox.
Yeah, this is speaking to them, not speaking to the mass, isn't it? It's how to communicate en masse individually.
Yeah, you should never, ever, ever start an email, dear friend, dear client. You personalize it. And if you've captured data on that person that is relevant as to what sector they're in or what they're interested in, then use those merge fields, make it as relevant as you can to that individual so they don't feel like they're getting a canned response. Even if they know they're getting a canned response, the fact that you've made the effort to personalize it and make it relevant to them will count in your favor versus your competitors who are not taking the time and care to communicate properly with the client base.
And as Arthur says, know your avatar, and depending on what emails they open, etc., you can tell exactly who that is. You know who your hottest leads are, who needs your time.
Absolutely.
You can help nurture them and push them to that direction.
So capturing data at the point of entry, as well as seeing how you can segment people as they're going through your email nurtures, is a super important way to automate part of your business. Also, what's really important is getting referrals and testimonials. People ask me all the time, well, how do I get them? And there's a really, really simple response to this. You simply have to ask them. And how many people do not ask people for referrals or testimonials? Oh no, we're terribly British, we shouldn't really disturb people. No, let other people, there's no more power than, no greater power than word of mouth marketing, which is the cheapest form of marketing, or people giving you a referral or a testimonial or a review. Someone else saying nice things about you is so much better than you having to say nice things about yourself. Now you can automate this, as I mentioned earlier, you can automate an email off the back of of someone just paying an invoice, or you moving someone to a particular folder in your email. So this would be an example of an email that you could send out that looks really nice with links. I've just done a video actually on my YouTube channel about how to link straight back to someone leaving you a review on your Google review. You become much more visible on SEO as well if you have 5 stars under your name with your Google review. Collecting those is essential, and having that visibility. I challenge anyone here to have bought anything from Amazon or eBay without checking how many stars or what the social proof was for the person they were buying from. Ed, have you ever bought anything from Amazon or eBay or online without checking how many reviews people have got?
No, I read reviews first and foremost, 100%.
So no, exactly. And then, and also, if someone's recommended to you, do you go and put them in Google to go and find out about them?
No, not so much, if I'm honest. If someone recommends, I normally get the phone number, jump straight on the phone to them. But yeah, but if it's not someone that, so I would say that, yeah, a referral, if I can sit there and say, I got this from whoever, yeah, I'd probably go on their opinion of them as opposed to the web's opinion. But if I've got no other reference point, yeah, 100%, it's about the stars.
You're going and checking them out. And likewise on LinkedIn, going and asking people for testimonials on LinkedIn. So these are all things that should be happening in your business automatically, part of which you can automate. But this is what we mean about having an automated business, is things that are happening automatically, which is why going back to the blueprint and systemizing and processing out each area of your business is so important. There's also, if you can automatically wow your customers of different ways in which, as is on the screen here, which I'm very happy to send out to people, is really easy ways that you can create that good vibe feeling from your customers in order that they will refer you on, or that you can reward them for leaving you a review, or just let them have, people are going to talk about you, right? So let's make sure that they're saying nice things. So all the different ways that you can wow your customers and help you get referrals, reviews and testimonials. So we're coming up to an hour now, and I'd like to open it to questions and answers. If anyone's got anything that they'd like to ask now, then that would be great. And if there's stuff that comes up later, then I'm very happy for anyone to contact me for a 20-minute call for absolutely free, no charge, of if you need help or you're stuck with your automation and you don't know where to get started with it, or you need some help technically with getting stuff configured with what you're already doing. Ed, anywhere?
Yeah, I think, you know, if you've liked a particular bit, add it to the chat. Let's see what's the most important for people. Yeah, if we can then possibly do some more little small videos on those bits. But I guess, you know, let's not let anything fall through the gap. Let's make sure we're spending our time in the best possible way, doing the high value tasks, not the small value tasks. We've got to contract our team. Let's make sure we know which ones are valuable, and let's have a look at that blueprint.
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the key things, the blueprint. I love laying your business out, because not only can you understand what needs to automate, you can understand where the gaps are, you can understand what's critical, really, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Understanding the flow of your business from every aspect, whether it be the client journey, whether it be the customer journey, whether it be your journey, and then each of the micro processes in there to make sure that everything is happening as automatically as possible, and automating where you can in order to save as much time as possible. And also reporting back of understand, you know, if you can learn from your data in order that you can iterate and improve every stage of what you're doing.
I think the one thing you really touched on was like the segmenting your database based upon their actions. Yeah, I think it's good to be reminded that, actually, because that is critically important. If you've only got a finite resource, you want to make sure that you're spending it in the right way. And even from a sales perspective, you know, the more data you've got on these guys, you can call them, you can build instant rapport. You know, it's the more data you have, the more you can act, and it's not an unsolicited call. The results are much better.
Oh, absolutely. Alex has just asked a question. When using a calendar booking system, how can you manage journey times between jobs and different times required for different clients? Are you talking about like going into somebody's property to service their boiler or similar, and the travel time to get there? Alex, is that what you mean? Yes, installations. Well, what we would do is, having had an installation company, is you would put travel time in before and after. So whoever is booking it in would need to logistically look at the diary and see where the job was before, or where their starting point is, and make sure that the travel time is accounted for in booking that in. And knowing if you're doing different types of jobs and installations, of knowing how long each one takes. So if a boiler service takes 45 minutes or a repair is going to take 90 minutes, that has to happen at the logistics level. And you can obviously automate it if you've got standardized different jobs in there and putting in the automation for it. So a client can, well, a client can book it if they're choosing, let's say, a boiler service, and you know it's, there are particular softwares that will work within different postcodes. So if you were going to have diaries open for different areas, let's say North London or South London, then you could estimate there'd be 30 to 45 minutes journey time between each and leave that buffer. But you wouldn't necessarily want to have client have access to booking in your diary, because you might get one in Birmingham, one in North London, who knows. So unless you've got the diary management software itself being able to allocate by postcodes, that one's a very tricky one to have to solve.
Yeah, I mean, I think Alex works in a fairly local area, so she can just put a buffer time between meetings, etc.
Yeah.
But I do believe I've actually seen software that's able to use Google Maps, and it'll work out from from point A, it'll work out where their location is, and it'll give you an estimated travel time. And then you can set what the additional time would be, like 10, 15 minutes or whatever.
Absolutely.
It is possible.
It is possible. There are diary management softwares that exist out there specializing in exactly this.
So cool.
We've got another question that's popped up. Great, thanks. You're welcome, Alex. So I hope that you got enough takeaways from here and enough food for thought for how you can automate your business and put your business on autopilot where possible, releasing you and your staff up. Please don't forget about the accountability of making sure that if you have got staff working by remote, that you're able to have visibility on what they're doing and still be able to be productive in this time, so that your business doesn't just survive but thrives. And it's a really good time now to refine the systems and processes that you've got and see where you can release up the time of your staff so that the systems and processes are supporting them and being able to do what you're hiring them to do best. So let me know if you've got any questions. Book in a call by all means, or send me an email, lisa@businesscatalyst.eu, if you've got any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. It's been very informative and it's been good fun, actually. So yeah, hopefully we will get some other videos out fairly soon.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, Ed. See you later.
Thank you. Take care. Ciao.
Bye.